Three U.S. destroyers carrying 4,000 Marines are heading in the direction of Venezuela. According to the White House, the mission is to target drug cartels that traffic narcotics to the United States.
He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel. In Maduro, it is the view of this administration, is not a legitimate president. He is a fugitive head of this cartel who has been indicted in the United States for trafficking drugs into the country.
We are told the enemy is the cartels, but they're just the damn symptom. The real disease is a failed state 2,000 miles away. America's rivals are using it as a base to attack us, and it's time we started treating it that way.
President Trump has been very clear and consistent. He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel.
President Trump cranks up the pressure on deadly drug cartels. The Pentagon sending at least 3 U.S. Navy destroyers to patrol the waters near Venezuela.
You heard there, 3 U.S. Navy destroyers along with 4,000 United States Marine devil dogs are being deployed to the coast of Venezuela. We need to take the fight to them. The truth is, the war against the cartels can never be won on our own soil. It has to be won in their backyard. Sending the military to Venezuela sounds radical, but what if it's the only move that can actually prevent a wider conflict? The cost of us not doing this is already a war in our streets, and this is how you finally end it. You stop the problem at the source.
4,000 Marines are heading in the direction of Venezuela. According to the White House, the mission is to target drug cartels that traffic narcotics to the United States. The move comes just days after President Trump raised the reward for helping to apprehend Venezuela's leader Nicolás Maduro to $50 million. In response, Maduro is mobilizing 4.5 million militiamen and women throughout the country.
Que el mundo lo sepa.
Let the world know, let the empires know, that today more than ever, Venezuela can defend itself. That's why we're in peace and will stay in peace.
But while some say Trump is just trying to intimidate oil-rich Venezuela's government, Maduro has grounded all drones for 30 days, an indication that he might be expecting an attack from the air rather than sea. President Trump hasn't ruled out anything, says his spokesperson.
He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel. In Maduro, it is the view of this administration, is not a legitimate president. He is a fugitive head of this cartel who has been indicted in the United States for trafficking drugs into the country.
Even countries that have
You've got to stop the problem at the source. Imagine a bully is standing in his yard down the street and keeps throwing rocks into your yard. You could spend all day trying to dodge the rocks or build a fence, but he'll just keep throwing them. This makes more sense to go to his yard and stop him from throwing them in the first place. Right now, the drugs and crime are the rocks, and our border is the yard. We've been spending all of our money and time trying to catch everything at the southern border, but it's not enough. Sending ships to the coast of Venezuela is like walking down the street to stop the bully. It stops the problem at the source, so it never even gets to us. Protect our neighborhood. Venezuela is not just a mess on its own. Countries that are rivals to the United States are using that chaos to cause problems for us. Do you think all of these Tren de Aragua gang members are here by accident? Do you think they're here to help America? Or do you think they have been strategically placed in cities across the United States to traffic, to transport, to disseminate all of these drugs into cities and across the United States? This is not an accident. This is by design. Think of it like this. If your neighbor's house was a total wreck and people who didn't like your family started hanging out there to plan ways to bother you, you'd be worried. This plan is basically America telling these other countries, you can't use our neighbor's house as a base to mess with us. It's about making sure our whole part of the world is safe and that bigger problems don't start right next door. You see here a map with the names of the ships. There's 6 destroyers and also an SSGN or possibly a fast attack submarine, maybe multiples in that area. I support every bit of this. You see the coast of Venezuela. The only way that this stuff is coming in is by boat, by ship, and even some of these narco submarines that they have built. And I am glad to see this. I'd love to know from you. Comment down in the description. Do you want to see United States military deployed to stop this? Because I'm all for it. We deploy our military under every other administration to go and fix problems around the world that have nothing to do with us. And now Donald Trump has mobilized the National Guard in major cities, D.C., to crack down on crime. And now he's mobilizing our military to crack down on crime as well. Love to get your opinion on this. This is going to get a little Western very quickly. And Maduro says he's going to mobilize 4.5 million militia members to prop up the cartels. What are your thoughts on that? What does that tell you that Venezuela's number one export is? It's probably not oil. The Citgo stations, that's Venezuela. That's Venezuelan oil, or it used to be. I think there's an embargo there. And I think Venezuela, because of the embargo on their oil, had to find another export. This is what the war on drugs looks like. You've got a submarine, you've got a destroyer, you have a Secretary of Defense, and you've got a strong president. No other administration has used the might of the military to fight this problem. And if I was in Maduro's shoes, I would be worried. But I am glad to see the Secretary of Defense getting involved in the defense of the United States. It's only logic. This is an active daily invasion. They bring in enough fentanyl and narcotics to wipe out entire cities. At what point does the American people not realize that this is a military operation? The cartels are run like military infantry battle units. So why shouldn't we combat them with the same thing? This is cheaper to fix the leak than to keep mopping the floor. If you have a leaky pipe in your house, you have 2 choices. You can put a bucket underneath it and keep emptying it forever, or you can pay a plumber once to fix the pipe for good. Just using the bucket seems easier, but over time, the damage and effort cost way more than fixing the leak. And for years, America has been using the bucket approach. We spend billions of dollars in our war on drugs and on our border security and dealing with the damage that drugs cause in our communities. That's the endless mopping. Sending troops to stop the drugs from ever leaving Venezuela is hiring the plumber. Venezuela is calling for the mobilization of 4.5 million Bolivarian paramilitary forces as Trump deploys 3 warships. What do you think about this? Is this the right thing to do? I'm sure the left is going to lose their mind for these Venezuelan men. This costs money up front, but it fixes the problem. It sets a precedent to save our communities, save our children, save our cities. I cannot think of one city in the United States that has not been destroyed or communities have been lost because of the amount of drugs that are coming in. There are people here on YouTube that were formerly part of this problem. And now they get away with everything. They are not really talked about. And if you do talk about them, oh boy, at the backlash.
Trader Terry Cole, thank you for being here. Can you tell us more about the ships in Venezuela? Is that to help deal with drug?
Yeah, good morning, Dana, and thank you for talking about this important topic, especially since Venezuela has turned into a narco-terrorist state that continues to work with the FARC, continues to work with ELN from Colombia to send record amounts of cocaine from Venezuela, from Colombia, into the Mexican cartels that continue to come into the United States at record amounts. We have seized more cocaine this year than past years. The amount of methamphetamine coming into this country continues to be on the uptick, and we still see record amounts of fentanyl coming into our country. But the Venezuelan corruption, the Venezuelan dictatorship, he is a narco-terrorist. They continue to send this poison to the United States, killing hundreds of thousands of Americans, not to mention the TDA members that they send to our country to destroy the beautiful streets of the United States.
And I know that Fentanyl Prevention and Fentanyl Awareness Day, which is today, we have to point out that sometimes if in the meth, in the cocaine, you'll have fentanyl, and so you'll have people end up dying of fentanyl poisoning. What do you want people to know about your efforts today?
The problem with the fentanyl is they're not getting this out of Venezuela. The fentanyl's coming from China, and that's where the real connection needs to be made, and we need to go to the head of the snake and cut off the source. I hope this guy brings it up.
Well, I think today, right down the street in Times Square, we have a major event today with all the fentanyl families. And it's critical for us to remember all those lost souls. All this destruction is based on the Mexican cartels sending this poison into our country. Here at DEA headquarters, we have an entire building dedicated to those lost souls. Their photographs are on our entranceway to remind every single DEA employee worldwide of the destruction that these cartels, specifically CJNG and Sinaloa, are causing in the United States.
I want to point out some statistics here. In 2025, so far, 30 million fentanyl pills and 6,000 pounds of fentanyl powder have been seized. In 2024, it was 60 million all told.
Look at the numbers here. 60 million pills, 8,000 pounds of fentanyl powder in 2024. So far in 2025, we're halfway through. We're in August, a little over halfway. We're almost exceeding that. Something's got to be done. There are many of you that are watching that probably don't have family members around you anymore because of this disaster, this drug crisis that we have in America. If we can pinpoint this down, and it looks like we have to Tren de Aragua, think back to that Aurora, Colorado, where they took over a whole apartment building. Guys, I support everything that Donald Trump is doing right now. Everything. Lowering crime, lowering taxes, the economy is getting better, and we're taking it to this cartel source. If you like this video, smash the like and subscribe button for more content just like this. Semper Fi to all the Marines, and go Navy.